Welcome. In the previous session, we studied about pollination in Vallisneria. In this session, we'll study about pollination in Zostera. Both Vallisneria and Zostera are pollinated by water. So we are still studying about abiotic agents. So let's see in this session, pollination in Zostera. Right. So this Zostera is commonly called marine eelgrass. You can also call it simply as seagrass. Okay. So by the name itself, you might have understood that. Okay. So marine eelgrass, which means this is a plant that lives in water, sea water. Okay, that is marine water. In case of Vallisneria, that is seen or grown in fresh water body. So this is a marine water, a submarine water plant. So this plant Zostera, okay, so it is a monoecious plant. Okay, and this monoecious plant, okay, bears unisexual flowers. Okay, so as I said, it is a monoecious plant and has unisexual flowers, which means it will have both male flowers as well as female flowers. So that is it bears male flowers and also plus female flowers. Now this both male and female flowers are packed in a inflorescence. So it produces an inflorescence. That inflorescence will be having both male flowers and female flowers also. Okay, so now so here let's see the pollination, how it takes place in case of Zostera here. Right, so this is the surface of the surface of water, and here is the sea bottom. Okay, so here each plant will be having both male and female flowers. I'll be taking this as plant A, and this is plant B. Right, so here this in case of Zostera marina is a species. Okay, so this Zostera marina, it exhibits protogynous condition. It exhibits a protogynous condition. So the protogynous, which means the female flowers mature earlier than male flowers. Okay, such condition we call it a protogynous. So this protogynous condition will help in preventing self pollination, that is autogamy, and it will help in only going with the cross pollination, that is allogamy. Okay, so it exhibits a protogynous condition, and this protogynous condition will help in preventing self pollination. Okay, so we already see that here protogynous means the female flowers or the stigma becomes receptive much earlier when compared with the anthers. Okay, so that condition we call it a protogynous, that will help in preventing the self-pollination here. So now let's see, okay, in case of these Zostera plants, both are okay bisexual plants here. So now it produces okay pollen grains, and these pollen grains are released, and these pollen grains okay will be ribbon like. These are pollen grains and they are ribbon like, okay, and they remain at the same height where they are released, okay. This is because the specific gravity of the pollen grains is same as that of the seawater, and because of it the pollen grains neither come to the surface of the water nor sink to the bottom. So they remain at the same height and they may reach okay to the plant B, okay. So when these pollen grains come finally okay and fall on the stigma, and they come in contact with the stigma, the pollination is achieved, okay. And once the pollination is achieved, right, the fruit and seed formation occurs underwater only, just like how it has taken place in case of Vallisneria. In Vallisneria, okay, the pollen grains have come to the surface, okay, and on the surface the pollination has taken place. That is what we consider it epihydrogamous, and this pollination in Zostera is the one we consider under okay hypohydrogamous. So this is an example under hypohydrogamous, so that pollination takes place underwater, okay. So this is how the pollination takes place in case of Zostera. Now with this we have completed abiotic agents, the wind and water, and we'll quickly move on to the next okay agent, that is biotic agents. Okay, so the next one are biotic agents. Okay, so here pollination by animals is called zoophily. So there are a variety of animals involved in transferring of the pollen grains from one plant to another plant. So that pollination by animals, we call it zoophily, just like how we have seen pollination by wind is called anemophily, pollination by water is called hydrophily, and in this case okay, pollination by animals is called zoophily here, okay. Now a plant pollinated by okay animals okay is particularly right, it will be particularly okay adapted to that okay to a specific species of animal. So a plant pollinated by okay a plant pollinated by animals. So okay, so there is a particular animal will pollinate a particular species of plant. So there is a okay a relationship, a mutualistic relationship that exists between the plant and the animal, okay. So only that particular species of animal will be capable of pollinating that particular species of plant, okay. So for this reason the plant has to show adaptations to that particular species of animal, and the animal also have to undergo particular or some adaptations to pollinate that particular species of plant, okay, right. And we already studied that majority of flowering plants, So this majority of flowering plants will be using, okay, biotic agents, are pollinated by, that is pollinated by, okay, animals. They are pollinated by animals. Now let us see a few animals, okay, so that help in the process of pollination. Okay, animals that help in pollination. So in this, right, it includes bees, okay, butterflies, moths, okay, ants, right, wasps, almost all in fact are insects here, right, then beetles, okay, so all these are insects, and some larger animals like even birds, okay, the bats and other mammals are also involved. Okay, so when you see this list, okay, out of all these, the major portion is, okay, the insects. So all these are insects, so which means insects play a major role in the process of pollinating these, okay, flowering plants here, right. uh, and when you come across these okay, insects, so the bees are dominating insects, okay, which are involved in the process of pollination. So these are all dominating in, okay, insects, okay, involved in pollination. So the major portion of pollination is done by insects, and among the insects the major portion, okay, is done by the bees, right. So here when you compare, okay, out of all other insects, the bees, okay, are the pollination done by bees is 80%, okay. So 80% of pollination is by bees, okay. So that's about some examples of okay, animals, right. And so I said there are bats included, okay, birds included, and even other mammals included. So we'll see some other examples, okay, in case of mammals, okay. So in case of mammals, okay, we'll see right, like lemurs. So these are primates, okay. They are also involved in transferring the pollen grains here. Then there are something called arboreal rodents, okay. And then, okay, so these are the mammals which are involved in the process of, there will be so many here, okay. And coming to reptiles, so reptiles, okay, will include like the geckos, okay. So gecko is in fact a lizard, right. And okay, garden lizards, right. So in case of the reptiles, it includes a gecko and garden lizards here. So the mammals will include lemurs, okay, that is primates, okay, and arboreal rodents. All these are a variety of animals that help in the process of, okay, pollination. So now let us see some types of pollination. So depending on the animal, we give a name. So if a particular animal is involved in the process of pollination, so according to that, that pollination we call it, okay. So let's see a table. So type of pollination, okay, and the pollinating agent. right? So the first one, entomophily. So the entomophily is pollination by insects. So if these insects are involved, then we have to call it entomophily. Then ornithophily. So here, if the birds are involved, okay, in pollination, then we have to call it ornithophily. So some plants are pollinated by birds. Already we have seen, okay, that the major portion of the pollination is done by, okay, insects, and among the insects it is the bees that share 80%, okay, right? And the pollination by insects is called entomophily, and the pollination by birds is called ornithophily, okay. And then, okay, and another one called, okay, right, chiropterophily is pollination by bats, okay. So there are some plants that are pollinated by the bats here. So that pollination by bats, we call it a chiropterophily, okay. Then malacophily. So the malacophily includes pollination by, right, snails and slugs. So they are mollusks. So if those mollusks are involved, okay, then we call it malacophily here. Then, right, myrmecophily. So this myrmecophily, which means pollination by ants. So like this, you will find so many varieties of, okay, pollination types here, depending on the, okay, pollinating agent involved. So if the pollinating agent is insects, we call it entomophily. If it is birds, we call it ornithophily. If it is bats, we call it chiropterophily. If it is snails and slugs, we call it malacophily. If it is ants, we call it myrmecophily, okay. So now just like in wind and water pollinated, okay, flowers, how they have shown some special characters, here also the flowers pollinated by animals will exhibit some special characters. So let's see, okay, the characters exhibited by flowers pollinated by animals. Characters, okay, exhibited by flowers pollinated by, okay, animals. Pollinated by animals, okay. So let's see the first character, right? So majority of insect pollinated, okay, flowers, right? So majority of insect pollinated, okay, flowers, they will be large, okay, and colorful. So they produce a variety of colors to attract, okay, different animals, right? And they also produce, okay, the fragrance. So they are fragrant, means they produce a scent, okay. So they are fragrant, right? And also rich in nectar. So the nectar is a sweet, okay, sugary, right, substance. So that's what a sugary substance. So that is usually present, okay, at the base of the flower, okay. And these animals in, okay, picking up this, okay, nectar, they may help in pollination. So which may bring the pollen from another plant. They may help in transferring to the stigma in a process to get this, okay, nectar from the flower. So that is majority of insect pollinated flowers. So they will have large, colorful, okay, and fragrance. They produce, okay, a variety of scents, okay. Not always all the, flowers produce a pleasant smell. So there are plants in which flowers produce a very unpleasant smell, like the smell will be a decaying or a rotting animal. So after the animal is it takes its death, so how it undergoes the decomposition, so that smell of decomposition is also produced by some type of flowers. So in that case, those flowers will be attracting some kind of flies, or kind of beetles that usually live in those decomposing bodies, right? So we understood that not always the flowers produce a pleasant smell. There are flowers which produce unpleasant smells also, like in case of Rafflesia is a plant. We'll see all those examples, right? So this is one characteristic feature here. Then when flowers are small, when flowers are small, a number of flowers are clustered. A number of flowers are clustered into an inflorescence. So we see these inflorescences, small flowers, in case of banana, in case of coconut, right? Even just now we have seen the Zostera. Even in that case also it produces inflorescences. So there are so many varieties of or types of inflorescences. So that is when flowers are small, all those flowers will be packed into an inflorescence. Right, so this helps in seeing. So if the flowers are very small, they may not be seen. So for that reason, if these flowers are all packed into in one big a structure, that what we call it inflorescence, this inflorescence will be visible to those animals here. So this helps in or say makes them conspicuous. So it helps them to make conspicuous. So which means they are visible. Makes them conspicuous. So inflorescence is conspicuous, means it is seen very clearly. If small flowers are present separately, they may not be seen clearly. So for that, they all packed into one structure and form inflorescence. So that makes them to clearly visible to animals. So that is one more characteristic feature of these pollinated by animals. Here I'm especially discussing about the characters exhibited by flowers pollinated by animals, that is especially insects. So here I'll consider especially insects. So that is so those flowers pollinated by insects will be large, colorful. Of course, even in the case of other animals also the same characters will be applied here. Right, the next one, like nectar and pollen grains are usual rewards for the animals that pollinate them. So how the plant is going to reward these animals for the purpose of pollination. So they are going to, the plants are going to give them the animals the nectar and pollen which will be the usual rewards for all those animals. So in all the cases we cannot consider. There are some situations, okay, where an plant without giving anything can use an animal for the purpose of pollination, okay. Or in certain conditions you may see an animal, okay, without pollinating, it can take, okay, the food from the plant. So this is there will be some cheating that can be seen in case of either from plants or even from animals also, okay. So this is usually in most of the plants you will see, okay, nectar and pollen grains will be given to those animals that help in the process of, okay, pollination here, right. Then in some plants, okay, right, the floral rewards, right, in all plants it is not like just nectar and pollen grains. In some species of plants the floral rewards will be, okay, the floral rewards are providing, okay, place for laying eggs. So they help in, I mean, okay, some plants, they will, okay, give some space in the flower, okay, for the, okay, insects, okay, to lay eggs. So this is a reward, okay. So this is you know what you say, not always nectar and pollen grains are rewards to animals. Sometimes the space inside, okay, the flower is also a reward. So that will help the animals to safely lay eggs and grow the next generation here, okay. So right, so in this case, in some plants, as I said, okay, the floral rewards are providing place for, okay, laying eggs. Example in this case is the relation between, okay, yucca plant and yucca moth, okay. So that is one here, and this is an example, the relation between yucca plant and yucca moth. We'll see how this yucca plant is pollinated by this yucca moth. Only the yucca moth can pollinate this yucca plant.